Hi. Yes, Santosh. So, yeah, can you tell me about yourself and your roles and responsibilities shortly?
Yeah, man. So I have overall experience of 7.2 years in IT industry, and with respect to the front end development, I have 5 years of experience. So initially, I started my career, front end development career with Angular 2 plus version only. So totally, I have worked in three front end development projects.
Mm-hmm.
So which is an agile based methodology project.
Mm-hmm.
So my first project will be for the United Parcel Service for the logistics domain, and my second project for the KLM Royal Dutch Airlines, which is an airlines domain, and my previous project will be for the travelers client, and it's in the insurance domain. So far I worked in the started with Angular 2 plus version and end up with Angular 11 version.
Mm-hmm.
So the other skill sets like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, as well as the Jasmine framework for unit testing in our project.
Okay.
These are all the skill set and which I worked in so far. Aman.
Okay. Good, Santosh. So, okay. So, what is the latest version you are working in?
Angular 11,
Angular
Aman.
11. Okay. Good.
Which I migrated the entire application from 8 to 11.
Mm-hmm. Good. So, what are the difficulties are you facing while migrating your project?
So like in the initial setup itself, like I'm not able to upgrade the Angular version,
Mm-hmm.
update the Angular version from the NPM registry actually.
Mm-hmm.
So that is an internal issue, but
Mm-hmm.
I just faced the thing in my project, like and I just resolved by forcing the username and password from the node command prompt itself instead of logging into the npm registry, even though it is not working. So I forced that one in the from the command prompt itself.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the workaround I updated. And the another issue which I faced is like the unit test case in our application is running asynchronously, Amar. Like
Mm-hmm.
all the components unit test case are asynchronously running, and other developers like who are not followed that structure of the unit testing, like before each and before after all, these kind of stuff they misused, and it was causing an like unit test case failure during the update. So what I did is like I will first initial step as I just make it as false for asynchronous running to resolve the to get what are all the component unit test case are failing.
Okay.
And then I updated the structure which we need to follow, like before each and before all we need, which are all the test cases we need to follow. I updated the entire thing in the like uh, uh, what I will say, like coding structure manner.
We will move to, so I will ask you some Angular questions. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, can you tell me the new features of Angular 11?
So when we came up with like features in the sense like it is like after upgrading to Angular 11, I do see like the major compilation will be defaulted to AOT instead
Mm-hmm.
of JIT.
Mm-hmm.
So after migrating, I do see the bundle size in the console itself, like in the compilation itself, I can see the size, and it got reduced when before it was in Angular 8 as well. And so
Okay.
like the one of the major advantage in upgrading the Angular 11, I do see the compilation errors will be syntax errors will be shown in the compilation mode itself,
Mm-hmm.
not in the runtime.
Okay.
Before that, we used to get those errors after launching the application in the browser only. But after upgrading, we will be seeing the errors in the development mode, like the compilation itself. I used to get the errors,
Mm-hmm.
and then sizes will be reduced, and what are other features? Mm, Uh, these are the stuffs which I noticed during the upgradation.
Okay. Good, Santosh. So one of the other features, what is IVY?
So that is a rendering engine which will be used for building, and the entire application will get built, and then it will be supported to launch the application in the browser. So it's a rendering engine to gets loaded into the browser.
Okay. Okay. So why necessary to install Node.js while developing Angular projects? So why
so
require
so so
Node.js?
Everything will be in the will be all the dependencies will be installed from the npm. So we will be using Node.js to get it installed other Node modules as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, like so what is your question,
The,
Rajesh?
so what is the use of Node.js? Why we are communicating with Angular to Node.js? So what's the usage of Node.js?
Okay, yes. So as I mentioned, so everything will be module based things that we can install using the npm command.
Mm-hmm.
So far we will be using Node.js to get it installed other dependencies.
Okay. So what is the difference like package.json and package lock.json?
So whenever if you are doing the like npm install,
Mm-hmm.
all the dependencies will be referred from the package JSON, but
Mm-hmm.
the peer dependencies one major dependency can have multiple child dependencies. That will be that all the detailed version of dependencies will be located in the package.log.json.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Good. So what is shared module?
So if you are going with so in our application itself, we do have, like as I mentioned, it's an insurance project.
Mm-hmm.
We do have multiple coverages.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of holding all the components under one module, we will be separating as a module.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we have 9 coverages. We will be separated into 9 modules,
Mm-hmm.
and based on the requirement, we will be loading the particular module.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, we should we no need to load all the modules at a time itself, and whatever required itself we can load the modules. So for that we will be developing the shared module to then the respective components will be declared in the inside the shared module, and
Okay.
also we can share across all the modules as well if need.
Okay, Santosh. Okay. So what is the use of HTTP client module?
So whenever so so we need to access the HTTP request, we need to access any service calls like get or post. We need to get the HTTP client. Should be we need to import the HTTP client from the Angular library, like Angular core,
Mm-hmm.
to get access the HTTP services, where which we are going to create the service in the Angular itself to access the backend service actually. So far we need to we should have the HTTP client to get imported in the module.
Okay. Okay. Good. So what is the use of event emitter?
So in Angular, so everything will be an component based structure, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for communicating with the other components,
Mm-hmm.
whenever we are communicating from child to parent, we will be emitting the event actually to pass the data from child to parent. We should be using event emitter to pass the data. So for that we will be using event emitter. Not only the data, if any other notifications also we can pass it from the child to parent using event emitter.
Okay. What is the ng container?
So if you are creating any basically the ng container will be used for two purposes actually.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are going with if you want to show the content, if you want to iterate the array using the ng for and as well as the condition based structure, we cannot do with the same div class actually. So we cannot bind the two structural directives inside in the same div actually. So for that we can use ng container. And another useful things like if you want to bind the content dynamically, like if in some case in our application itself we will be loading the dynamic component to for the model based content and all. So in that case we will be using the ng container to show the content.
Okay. Are you worked any like dashboard kind of things like pie chart, bar chart?
Uh, Actually, in my first project, we in the logistics domain, right? So I used chart-based displaying the content, but I forgot stuff somewhere actually. Yeah, we used at that time we used the AG grid along with the P chart and chart-based displaying. We used actually.
Okay. So which Angular version released like daytime range picker?
Which Angular version?
Yeah.
So actually, I used the date ranges in our requirement in Angular 8. Yeah, I hopefully it will be released in the Angular 6.
Okay.
6.
Because we have only Angular date picker only. So
Okay.
date range they are released later version. So that's why
Okay. Okay.
I'm
So
asking.
I used in Angular 8 later part we got a requirement to implement that rate. Before that we used input field only. But in the later up what we will be saying in the innovation sprint, we used to have some stories to improve the applications. So at that time I implemented the Angular date picker.
Yeah, fine. So how did you like authenticate login users?
But so we don't have specific login screen or something, since it is an internal agent application. So before that it was used in the macro. So the what is our process is like it is a single sign-on application where backend people will be getting the Windows credentials who were whose like IDs will be added in the like backend module. It is where the Windows credentials will be authenticated by the backend people, and they will be sending their tokens for all the service call authentications actually. We don't have any specific login page in our application actually.
Okay. So which design framework are you working like material design or bootstrap or
Bootstrap.
bootstrap? Okay.
In my second project, which I mentioned, like KLM Royal Dutch Airlines, I used Angular material as well.
Okay.
But now, in my previous project, we used entirely an Bootstrap based application
Okay.
of CSS material.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So how did you call like I want to show some content in the dialog bundle? Okay, for example, employee details. I want to click the button for employee.
Okay.
We have employee list. So in the right corner we have many button like edit. So some view.
Okay.
So I want to one more button like view. It is shown in the detail pop-up. For example, employee name, detail, employee
Okay.
full name. So these details I want to show in the dialog model. Yeah. So how did
In
you?
the
Yeah.
pop-up.
Yeah. So how did you write the logic? Yeah.
So like so whenever we are showing like we will be showing the employee details in the table format, like usually we will be displaying in the employee in the table using the ng bar. So as part of like we do have IDs, right? For any one employee, multiple employees is there, so there should be unique value like either ID or something. So for that from the so we will be binding some methods like if it is an edit or open, like if it is edit or view details like that, we can write the method, and upon clicking on that method we can open the model based we can use any in our application itself. We use the ng model actually, so where we will be opening the model dynamically without initializing that component anywhere. We can dynamically loading that component in the model. So when it get inside the model also, the values get subscribed actually. Upon clicking on edit, we can subscribe those values in the model, and we can display whatever the details of the employee, we can display inside the model of that container, Aman.
Okay. Okay. So I want to attach multiple files and upload it into some storage. Okay. so
Okay.
how did you design the page using like HTML, or so how did you send the those files to backend? Yeah.
Okay.
Have you worked any like file upload part?
No, Aman.
No. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So
Yeah.
what is iframe?
So iframe is something like if you want to like if so I'm confused with the two parts actually, whether it is for like accessing the another application, or loading the media content
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
HTML.
yeah, correct one. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, like so if you want to like if you want to load the media content like a video or something, we will be using the iframe, I guess, Amar. But I don't have exposure in implementing those parts. That is not a requirement, but I guess it was used for that one.
Okay. Okay. Have you worked any like drag and drop like images? I want to left side some images list. So I want to move it to right side some selected images and send it into based on the image ID in the backend.
Okay.
Have you worked anything like drag and drop?
No,
Okay.
no, Amar.
Okay.
But I guess in Angular itself, we do have a drag and drop feature, which was released as part of Angular 6 or 7, I guess.
Okay.
So, which is as part of one of the API, right?
Okay.
Drag and drop.
So these are all HTML related questions only. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So are you worked any like stepper form? We have huge form. So
Okay.
we want to split it out. For example, registration some part. So
Okay,
then
so we I worked in completely and reactive form based application only, Amar, but we don't have a requirement of steppers actually. In the single form, like whenever the user selected any coverages in the single form itself, we have used a reactive form to submit all the details, and the premium gets displayed after clicking on rate, Amar.
okay.
Uh,
So
but maybe we can implement we can manage the all the content using the state management for the stepper actually.
okay. So how did you validate your form? So
Like, so as part of we are using the reactive form based application, we will be using the inbuilt validators like required, if any pattern errors, like any like if any numeric values should be entered, that if any alphanumeric entered, or like min range, max range, min value, max value, we will be validating using the default validator itself, which we will be like we will be defined either in the form control, or some fields will be like based on the condition based, we will be displaying at that time. We will be setting that validator manually, and using the update value validity, we will be updating this validator.
okay. So how did you like design responsive design? I want to show mobile content and desktop content. So how did you
So
make
when
responsive? Yeah.
we can go with two approaches, like either with the media query by defining the like width of the width and width of the maximum width and minimum width of the screen, or else if we go with Bootstrap itself, we will be designing the structure based on the column based structure, like usually the Bootstrap will be like divided into 12 parts. So if we go with either SMMD or LG, or if it is a simple call based column based, like call to call for, we can divide those screens into multiple parts based on the requirement. We can implement those responsiveness, I just implemented using this way, that whatever I explained, like column based structure, I implemented the responsiveness, Amar.
Can you explain the different type of like events?
different type of events.
Events, yeah.
So 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 events in the sense like
Yeah, button clickable event and that kind
yeah
of thing.
yeah like it was like usually like it will be a click event and submit and for input fields it should be an on change method. uh, mm, Click submit on change. In some cases we'll be using the blur method as well. And
Have you worked any HTML or HTML5 also?
HTML5 also,
Okay, okay. Okay, so I want to show some circle based design. So what is the syntax you are using?
circle based design.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
want to draw some circle.
okay.
That circle I want to point it out some small circle. Then how did you design?
So if we want to design the circle in the sense, I guess we can go ahead with like canvas for this one, Amar. Like
Mm,
uh,
okay,
so we can go ahead with the canvas. Like we will be defining the x and y path of the path in that HTML itself to design the circle actually.
okay. Any like I want to play with some video content. So what is the what is the command using in HTML? So
So
yeah.
the property for playing the media, like yes, it was media equal to video. No idea, Amar.
Okay,
Yeah, I forgot actually. It's not.
okay. How did you handle like backend error messages?
So usually we will be using the RxJS operators inside the service calls actually to get asynchronous calls like call, and we will be catching those errors using the RxJS catch error operator actually.
Okay,
Uh, yeah.
okay. So coming to some obviously JavaScript related work required. Okay, so inside TypeScript we need to follow some JavaScript code also.
Yeah.
So one logical question. So
Okay.
backend they are given like employee list. Okay, for example,
Okay.
each employee list have like employee object. Each employee
Okay.
objects contains like employee name, roles, and then an
Okay.
ID, age, like that. So they are given
Okay.
employee name like lowercase. So I want to show in the UI like first letter uppercase and another all lowercase. So this is
Okay.
a logic. Then how did you achieve this logic?
Okay.
In the
The first
backend,
letter.
yeah, in the backend they are given lowercase. So I want to
Okay.
first letter all the employees make it uppercase for
Okay.
look and feel purpose. Yeah,
Okay. Mm. So,
think it will take time also, no issue.
okay,
I don't want to all the uppercase. I don't want. I want to make it only first letter uppercase. Yeah,
okay, okay.
you got it right. What I'm asking.
Yeah, yeah, I got,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I got this question. I'm thinking like how to achieve this one. So like Amar, so based on that, like whenever so as part of this array and inside the object inside an array,
Mm-hmm.
when we iterated those value and once we get the like employee name,
Mm.
so if it is an employee name,
Mm-hmm.
then we will get those value and push the value into an either in an empty array,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
uh, empty array, and then so based on that index, like as you mentioned that the first letter should be an uppercase, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So based on that index of 0 we can update the value into uh, uppercase.
Mm-hmm.
whenever we are pushing into an array, it will be like a single strings, right? So we need to use the join to like to concat all the values
Okay.
after making it uppercase of the first value alone, first index alone. Uh, and then we can use spread operator to update the value in the object, Amar, instead of uh, pushing, like, but we can use spread operator to create the new reference for that one.
We have two array. For
Okay,
example, each array have cell. For example, employee list have 10 employees in the one array list. So another
okay,
10 employees in another list. So
okay.
so how did you append those arrays in single array?
So we have two arrays. We need to append those.
Yeah,
It's like you want to merge those two arrays,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I want to merge those arrays. Yeah.
Okay, like as I mentioned, like we can use spread operator to merge the array. Uh, since if we are going with equal to or push, then it will affect the original array value as well.
Okay.
So maybe we can go ahead with the spread operator itself. Aman.
Okay. Okay. So same like employee list when Santosh.
Okay,
So we have like employee name, ID, age like
okay,
that. So we
okay,
want to one attribute like inside status. So
okay,
backend they are given always false. So I want to
okay,
update all the employees status like true.
okay.
So how did you write the logic and update in the JSON object? So I want to update all the employee status in the manually.
Manually,
Yeah,
okay.
in the TS itself. In the backend they are given false.
False,
Yeah,
okay. We
yeah.
need to update those values as
Those
true.
values true. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Some display purpose. So yeah.
So as we already discussed, like iterating usually will be iterating the array, right? We either in this case it is a condition based one, right? So if it is a false one, we need to update the true. So uh, we can use the filter one to check the condition first, actually, whether it is an false. If it is an false only, then we need to update that true. And then we can update the, if it is false, then we can update it as true.
Okay.
uh, Either uh, by removing that particular property, like value alone, and then we can manually insert it as true instead of updating one. And it will create an using, if we are using filter, that it will create automatically a new array only. Okay,
Like
okay,
for example, I am Santosh. So
okay,
I slash am slash Santosh slash like Angular developer. Okay. So each sentence we have like slash or comma whatever it is. So I want to
okay.
split it and get it last value, last split operator value. For example, I am Santosh. Last one Angular developer. I want to get it Angular developer.
So we need to get those Angular developer alone, right?
Yeah, alone only. Yeah. Rest of all, I don't want. Yeah.
So in between I and am, we have a slash, and am slash Santosh slash again slash Angular developer,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Santosh. Yeah. I want to get it last value only.
Last alone.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So in that case, we can first find the number of slashes available in the strings, actually.
Okay.
And then that should be an last slash only, right? So maybe we can go ahead with like minus of index, total number of indexes, and we can then we need to using substring or so we'll be finding those index of that last slash, right? So using the substring, I guess, like we can give the index to get the remaining part of the value from the string.
I will give you clue also. You can use split.
Sorry, Amar?
You can use split also.
Yes, yes, but split, what will you do? Like, okay, it will split into an array, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, I forgot actually.
Okay.
Uh, so then we
Before
can,
you we are saying right that way also fine. Okay, no issue.
yeah,
Okay. But easiest way required, right? So
easiest way, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Usually for reversing the strings and all, they will be using split and join together, and then it will be and create an array, and using the reverse dot reverse, it will be easily reverse the string. So so the same way we can achieve this as well, as you mentioned, like using split.
Okay. Okay. So what is the usage of set timeout function? So where we are going to
So,
use?
So usually we will not go use set timeout, Amar, like we will be using the RxJS set interval operator itself.
Okay.
Like set timeout, so any particular function or operations to be executed after some time, some interval of, sorry, yeah, after some time we can use set timeout.
What is the enumeration? Enum.
Like so basically enum is one of the TypeScript feature which we will avoid some like mismatches if you are going like in our project itself. We will be using the if once the rating is success,
Okay.
we will be displaying that rating is completed and rating is in progress, kind of stuffs will be displaying in the UI in the pop-up. So instead of hard coding the value every time, like in progress, success, completed, we will be creating a like enum file to map the value inside, like wherever it is required, to avoid the any like some maybe we can miss out some case format like that. So we will be using that enum here, Amar, in our application.
Okay. Okay. So in TypeScript, so can you explain the different type of for loops?
So like different types of loops, like so usually for loop, for each, and for iterating the object we will be going with the for in. And in TypeScript, like they will be like in ES6 they introduced the for of loop actually. Otherwise we can go ahead with looping iteration, sorry, looping operations like using map, filter, reduce, find, these kind of stuff we can use.
You don't know, right? Material design. You don't know.
In my second project, I used material design,
Okay. Okay.
like material carousels I implemented, and uh, so I used mat card as well
Okay.
for selecting that is, and like what is that main purpose of that card is like we have features to be selected, so that airlines passengers can select the features like bar, like restrooms. These kind of options will be displayed in the card only, mat card.
Okay.
And as well as we used carousels for mobile display. So for mobile implementation, we need to implement we implemented the carousels for displaying all the screens actually inside. So and in input itself we used material design. Everything it is an material design based application only. We implemented mat input, everything.
Okay. Fine. So in the material design, so how did you show the data in the data table, like material table?
So so uh, So I'm not able to recollect this
Okay.
in depth of material design since I worked in like 2019. I worked in this
Okay.
project. 2018 actually.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
And,
No issue. Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
usually everything like even will be going with any
Any design. Okay. Fine. Yeah.
any frameworks we will be going with like we need to go with NGVAR and we will be displaying the content, right? And based on that framework properties, we can map the values.
In the CSS, so we have like material card, mat card. So we have like CSS id attribute or class attributes. So I want to show in the right corner, and so added in the border, and added in the border color. So how did you write the CSS class?
So for mat card, we need to write the CSS properties,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, and we need to display
It
it
is
in the right.
right corner, right side corner, in
So
top of the
in the
page.
right corner, yeah, okay, we need to display that card.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so if you want to display that content to be right corner, we can go ahead with float right as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and otherwise we need to go ahead with the positioning properties, but that is not an good approach for positioning the to the entire right, because as we go ahead with the displaying in the corner only, so we can go ahead with float right. Otherwise we can go ahead with, like as I mentioned, float positioning properties to update, and we can go ahead with, and that position right should be in 0. uh, and with respect to so what are the other thing, right? Bordering.
Yeah, I
Uh,
want to add border, like some pixel range added in the border color also. Instead of black, I want to use red.
okay.
So
So as we have like border properties, like we need to define the like pixels, either 1 pixel or 2 pixel. We need to give the, if it is for only for entire card, either all the left and right and top of the corner, we can go ahead with the border alone, or otherwise if we want to specific to the right or bottom, we can go ahead with border right or bottom. And we need to display the value like either 1 or 2 pixels solid, and either it should be like any color. We can update the properties.
okay. So same like that material card. Then I want to add background, some image. So how do you add background image using CSS?
Okay. Okay.
I don't want to
Background.
call HTML page. I want to add
Okay.
CSS itself. Yeah.
So we need to add the background image, or on top of the image we can show it this
Yeah,
card.
in the material card itself. Yeah, I want to show particular background image in the material card.
So either way, like we can go ahead with overlapping the like card on top of the image using Z index. Otherwise, uh, but like I'm not sure like whether like using the pseudo elements like after or before will help you to uh, display the content in the background.
Okay. You know what is the floating property, float property in CSS?
Yeah, as I mentioned, like if you want to display any content to the left or right end of the like div, like new line, we can go ahead using the float left and float right.
Okay.
But make sure we need to use clear property that another next element should get displayed in the next line. If needed, then we need to give the clear left or clear right. We need to give.
Okay. What is the use of padding, Santosh? Padding.
So basically, if for the content if we are displaying any content, that should be contained some margin, padding, border, this kind of stuff. So the content will get aligned inside the inside the element. We can use padding to either to left or right. If you are going it with the margin, that will be the outer scope of the content that get aligned with the another element actually.
Okay, Santosh. So we have like drop down like some types. Okay, for example, some types. Okay, so country, region, like that types.
Okay,
So I want to based on the types and shown in the some design. For example, country wants to show some design, then
okay,
region wants to show some design content. So how did you
okay.
make it like a show and hide in the UI?
So we need to show the condition based UI, right?
Yeah,
Amar?
yeah. So loaded in the different component. Yeah. So
Okay,
each type we want to load in the different component. For region based component, then another view for other component. Yeah.
no. Like I am not understanding the question clearly, Amar. Like,
Yeah, we have like drop down, right? We have many
okay,
options like option 1, option 2, option 3. Okay.
okay,
So I
okay,
want to click it. Whenever click it option 1, it is going to get it option 1 component. Obviously
okay.
we design multiple component, right? Okay.
Yes, yes.
So option 2 called like option 2 component. So how
Okay.
did you like show and hide based on the types conditions? Yeah.
Selection. Okay, okay. Since we discussed in CSS part, right? So
Yeah.
that's why just okay. So in the drop down, upon clicking on any one value, we need to display that particular content component.
Yeah.
So, so usually we will be displaying the condition based stuffs using. Uh, but that component should be in the different components, right? That options will be in one component, another stuffs and all different component.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like if it does not have any relationship, Amar, it does not have any relationship between those components.
Those components, yeah, you can use like each component we have like selector there, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
we click.
So in that case, we can go ahead to in the using. So usually we will be showing and displaying using ngif, but this one. So whenever the click event is emitted, then we can show the content.
Like you can tell CSS also, G, no issue. So how
Okay.
did you show hide some content using CSS?
Like in CSS, we can utilize like if you want to show hide or if you want to do any manipulations on the content based on the condition, we can go ahead with ng class number.
Okay.
And show and hide, like we can go ahead with like if we want to click, say if the click event is triggered, then we can hide those property using the in CSS we can go ahead with the display none as well. In CSS, particularly in hiding the content, we can go ahead with the display none, and if this condition is satisfying, we can go ahead with display block as well in CSS. Uh, but in Angular, clicking on particular stuffs, we can using ngif only, we can go ahead and
Okay.
displaying the component.
Only as most of the people using ngif. So
Okay.
in the CSS itself, I'm asking. Okay, that's fine. No issue. Okay. So once you done the complete application, okay.
Okay.
So how did you make it to build and where did you deploy your application? Yeah.
So once it is done, in the sense we will be like validating the compilation errors, everything should be cleared. Even we do have multiple stages in Jenkins itself, linting error, as well as the unit test case should be passed for 80% of threshold of each component. And then we do have end-to-end test cases that the developers needs to write to check whether the application is up and running. So we do have multiple stages, Amar. Like like we will be having the commands to run the unit test case, end-to-end test case, linting errors. These all should be checked by running the commands like npm run lint, npm run e to e. Everything we need to done, and we need to commit the code coverages, and we will be raising the pull request to the architects, Amar. So once he approved the code review, after reviewing, otherwise if we have any code review commands, we need to work on that, and the latter part, then only the build gets triggered in the local branch for the particular branch in the Jenkins.
Okay. Okay. Good.
So once all the stages completed, only we will be merging those with the master branch.
But almost the things. Okay. So you want to ask anything, Santosh? So I covered almost the
So
things. Yeah.
so do you have any feedback for me? I guess I need to improve some logical steps.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah,
can improve. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
almost logical questions you
yeah.
answered me. Yeah, so
Usually it
you
has
can.
multiple perspective for each developer,
Okay.
so that is the main issue whenever raising it logical questions.
Okay,
So
okay. Yeah, fine. You can improvise some design part, like using like,
yeah,
yeah, nowadays using material design. So many people and
so
bootstrap.
I guess I need to focus on like media
Mm,
stuffs in
yeah,
HTML.
yeah.
That is the thing I observed.
Apart
Yeah,
from that, everything good, ma. Okay, no doubt.
thanks,
So yeah, I will give
thanks.
feedback to like Himanshi, HR name Himanshi, right? Okay, so yeah.
This
So
is for particular account or any information, Amar, or just you got profile to evaluate?
no, this is for healthcare domain. So
Okay,
once
okay,
if you are selected, you will be deployed in the healthcare domain.
okay,
UI
okay,
developer,
okay,
Angular UI developer. Yeah,
okay, okay. Thanks,
yeah. Thanks for your time. Yeah, have a
thanks,
nice day,
Amar. Nice
Santosh.
talking
Yeah,
to you. Yeah.
yeah, bye. Thanks for watching. If you are not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and keep watching. Thank you.